video, I want to break down a simple trick you can use to actually help change your circumstances by changing the way you look at them. A lot of times we'll encounter challenges or difficult situations. It maybe seem so daunting or so arduous that we find it difficult to muster enough courage and enough ambition to actually attack it. And as a result, a lot of people give up, quit, cower, pout, and act like hoes. But we don't want you to do that. We want you to attack your problems, attack your situations like a champion, because your life will not be an unbroken boulevard of green lights. Your life is kind of a series of tragedies that you have to navigate. But I'm about to teach you a mental trick that will help you navigate life's problems more effectively as they arise. This is called reframing. This comes from something called neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. That's where I first learned it. It's a way of changing your perspective on different situations that you may encounter. For example, you may have reality, but there's two types of reality: objective reality, and then there's subjective reality. Now, objective reality is really just what happened, right? Subjective reality is your interpretation of what happened. So, for example, when Trump lost the election, that was objective reality. He lost the election, right? Subjective reality, according to my friend, was the election was stolen and he needed to overthrow the government. So he ended up being one of those people who rushed the Capitol. And there's a picture of him hanging from the rafters. He went to prison because his subjective reality was the country was falling apart. Objective reality, election was lost, right? But subjective reality can have you, what I like to call, tripping. Also, I'm going to show you how to take a negative situation and make it positive through your subjective reality. A way you can think about this is, it's almost like there's objective reality, boom. And let's say this is you, right? And you're experiencing objective reality, boom. You're looking at it. You see it through a lens called perspective, right? So it's filtered through your perspective, and you look at subjective reality through your perspective, and that creates objective reality, right? Or your reality. If your perspective is negative, then what's going to happen? It's going to color reality negatively, right? If you're looking at it through a negative perspective, then that's how it's going to look for you. However, if you look at it from a more positive or neutral perspective, then that's how it's going to look for you, right? Two people can see the same event and experience it different ways. Now, how do we change our perspective? Well, it's something called reframing. Reframing is something that is a way that you change your perspective on things. If my flight gets delayed, I'm at the airport, I see people flipping out, acting crazy, yelling at the plane waitress. And instead of flipping out, the objective reality is like the plane is going to be late. So I just look at it through the perspective of, this is an opportunity for me to practice patience. And because I reframe it as an opportunity to practice an attribute that I want to improve, then it becomes a positive situation for me. And use reframing to influence your perspective, right? So we insert a reframe, right? So reframing, right? So for example, with the airport, I reframed it as, okay, this is an opportunity for me to practice patience. And because I use that reframe changed my perspective, which changed my relationship with reality. It's all real, but it's just the way I'm looking at it. Does that make sense? Reframes change the way you look at it. This is probably one of the most powerful mental techniques that I've come across, and I use it all the time. Another reframe is when I was going to quit drinking, I just said, I just don't drink. My sister, she wanted to stop drinking. She didn't have a problem. She just, she's just getting older and didn't want to drink no more, right? But she was trying to limit her consumption. And then every once in a while, she's I can have some more. And then next thing you know, she wasted, right? The way she looked at it, she was trying to limit her consumption. I gave her a reframe. I said, listen, abstinence is easier than moderation. Just look at it like that. If you just gave it up completely, instead of trying to do it moderately, it will be easier for you. And when she looked at it from that perspective, it was almost easier for her to quit. So she hasn't had a drink, she told me the other day, in months after I gave her that reframe. So let me explain. Her reality was she wanted to quit drinking. Her subjective reality initially was it's difficult to stop drinking, social stuff, all right, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, hey, abstinence is easier than moderation. I gave her that reframe and she said, yo, you're right. And then now she just doesn't drink. She said it was it was definitely easier for her, right? Because now she's looking at it from a different perspective. Another reframe that we've used in the fitness industry when I'm training clients is sometimes it'll be like, oh man, dieting is just hard, man, because I'm hungry. And I said, no, man, that's not hunger, man. That feeling you feel, that's not hunger. That's your body burning fat. That's what fat burning feels like. And I gave them that reframe, right? And what happened was they started to actually enjoy the hunger a little bit. Because like, man, this is how I know the fat's burning, right? Because you have to burn more calories you consume. So I said, no, that hunger, man. That what you feel? That's the fat burning. That's what fat burning feels like, man. That's how you get ripped. That's how you know it's working. I'm gonna give you another one, and then I'm gonna show you how to make your own. Every time I do something difficult, right? A lot of times people see me, see me waking up early, 4, 5:30 in the morning, you know, working hard all day. You see my calendar packing, man, you're so disciplined, man. You work so hard, man. And I can tell they think it's difficult, but they don't know I use the reframe because I do these things that most people think are difficult. I'm better than them. That's a psycho reframe, but that's what I think about it. For example, I was at the dinner with some friends and family, and they, you know, I bring my scale with me to the restaurant to weigh my food. You know, I do it discreetly. Nobody really, it's not a big deal. And somebody was like, man, that's a lot of dedication, man. I can never do that. And I just said to them, you know, different strokes, different folks, whatever. But in my mind, I was thinking, right, bitch, you'll never be like me. I'm way better than you at everything. This is not even the fucking most impressive shit. That's what I was thinking. But I just said, oh man, you know, you gotta find what works for you. Because I had this reframe. I enjoy the discipline. I enjoy doing things that most people find difficult because I've changed the reframe. It's like, oh, this is what makes me better than everyone. Whether it's true or not, that's how I'm looking at it, right? So I took something that should be difficult or arduous and I reframed to make it actually pleasurable. There's ways you can create reframes, right? When you encounter a situation that's difficult or something you want to change about yourself and it seems arduous, you want to look for the positive. Look for the positive, what can come good out of it. Now, sometimes things are just bad. There may be nothing clear that's good out of it. Then you could look at, how can this situation make me better? How can this make me better? 2 years ago, I was going through a situation that it was pretty difficult for me. I don't want to get into it. The reframe that I used to help me was, this is probably not the last difficult situation I'm going to have to deal with. And it might not be the worst. So if the next one is worse than this, because I handled this one, I'll be better equipped to handle the next one. Or if the next one is not as bad as this, it'll be light work compared to this. I'm gonna use this to make myself more resilient. And because I use that reframe, okay, I'm gonna use this to make myself more resilient, I was better equipped to handle the situation because I couldn't find nothing positive in that situation. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just gotta look at it, okay, this is just training. And a lot of times you're gonna have to use that one. My son, if he's having a tantrum or something, I'm like, this is an opportunity for me to practice emotional control. I can't let a toddler control my emotions. I gotta be in control. I say, okay, this is a situation. This is training ground. And if you do this, life becomes like a training ground because you are gonna deal with a lot of situations. It's gonna be negative stuff that happens to you all the time. The reframe is the best way I found to actually change your perspective to make these things easier to deal with. And you can do this for anything. If you're trying to quit something, you're trying to quit cigarettes or quit smoking weed, or you're just like, okay, this is strengthening my willpower. But you gotta be able to come up with these anytime you encounter difficulty. If you look at it from that perspective, that's how it will be. I have another video that I want you to watch all about dealing with difficulties. Check that out right now.